New this morning, the Navajo Nation, one of the communities hit hardest by the pandemic in the U.S., has just wrapped up a strict 57-hour lockdown. And during that lockdown, only essential workers like first responders were allowed to remain on the job. All businesses, from gas stations to restaurants, were shut down. And this comes as the Native American tribe reports the highest per capita rate of infection in the country. Jonathan Nez is president of the Navajo Nation and joins me now live. Sir, good to have you with us this morning. So just give us a sense, as we mentioned, this lockdown ending. Was it successful? Why did you need it?
Good morning, Erica, and I'm hoping everyone is having a good Memorial Day weekend with their families. You know, we honor our fallen warriors during this time, and it's the end of our 57-hour curfew, and this is the seventh weekend to lock down the Navajo Nation. And I did receive some data, Erica, from the Navajo area IHS in terms of hospital visits and emergency care. I know that the positive cases are still going up, but in terms of healthcare facility visits, it is going down. So the projection that we received had us peak out in emergency visits in mid-April. So they were saying that the peak would be in mid-May. So I think a lot of the work that our first responders, our frontline warriors are doing in terms of getting the message out to stay home, and these lockdowns are working here on the Navajo Nation. And so we appreciate everyone that has, and they're doing great work here.
Well, good to know that you're seeing them work and that people are following those lockdown instructions. You mentioned about your numbers, and we talk so much about this per capita rate that the Navajo Nation has. I know part of that you attribute to the testing. You've had pretty aggressive testing, but there is still also a spread. So as you're looking at those two things, can you give us a sense of what the impact of the virus is on the Navajo Nation?
Well, to get some hope, give some hope to our people that are viewing, as well as those that are on the Navajo Nation, we have begun to track the recovery rate. So 1,400 people have recovered from COVID-19. And so in terms of the testing, we have testing happening a lot more here on the Navajo Nation. We have now 14.59% of our total population that have been tested here on the Navajo Nation, more than any other state in the United States. So if we're talking about per capita,
that is such a high number, to your point.
I mean, we at the beginning, Erica, we asked for test kits, and so now people have donated in many test kits to the Navajo Nation, and so there are testing blitz happening in the 3 states. New Mexico, Utah, and Arizona, and test kits are still coming into the Navajo Nation. And so, as they say, be careful of what you ask for. We have received many tests, and that's because, the Friends of the Navajo Nation have, looked at Navajo in a positive light, and we appreciate that. And so that helps us look at hotspots throughout the Navajo Nation. And since we're talking about per capita and today's Memorial Day, Erica, I just want to say thank you to our fallen warriors as families, our veterans. Native people have the highest per capita involvement of any population to serve in the U.S. military. So tribal members throughout the country have served greatly and contributed greatly to the freedoms of the United States citizens.
How is this Memorial Day different, to follow on what you just said, with so many members of the Navajo Nation who have served and who have given their lives? What's different this year?
Well, this year we're not able to have our Memorial Day event here at the nation's capital like we used to, with many of our families coming together and being recognized for their fallen warriors and what they have contributed to the Navajo Nation, the United States government. And let's also remember our Navajo Nation code talkers who have contributed, utilizing our Navajo language in Hizad, you know, and utilizing our language brings pride to the Navajo citizens here. So with this pandemic that has come into our Navajo Nation, we are resilient people. And I know that we will overcome this pandemic by working together, and we will flatten this curve here on Navajo.
Before we let you go, what do you still need as of this morning? What are the greatest needs?
Well, I think the greatest needs, not just here on Navajo, but clear across the country, are cleaning products, you know, Clorox, hand wipes, and also we do have an official website, an official donation site that people are contributing to so that we can get food and supplies, because a lot of the 57-hour lockdown, we try to get food and supplies before the lockdown so that they can have the food and the necessities to, you know, be home for 57 hours. And so we are grateful for the many contributions, including our own Navajo people. Half of our population, Erica, live off the Navajo Nation, and many of those Navajos have given back to help their people here on our nation.
Jonathan Nez, president of the Navajo Nation, good to have you with us this morning. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, Erica.